I felt like this was the perfect bag to add a flap, so I'm going to speed this up and do it really quickly. So I'm going to again remove that cotton fill. I'm going to fold this and make a loop, and I'm going to insert it into these purl stitches on the inside. There's going to be about 10 of them. So I started like right past the strap, and sorry, I'm out of frame a bit. I'm going to move the bag. So here you can see I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to fold it in half to make a loop, and I'm just going to insert it into that purl on the top edge. So here we go, I'm going to insert it just like that behind that purl stitch, and the purl stitch are the ones that go left to right. So you're just going to make those loops, just pull them right through there along that top edge to get your first row started for your flap to your bag. And also, this was very impromptu. I hadn't planned on doing this, but I'm like, why not? Because I felt like this bag was like the perfect size. So once you get to the end, you're going to do the same thing we've been doing. We're going to start our next row, but you do have to remember that we're doing this facing up. So we would have to pull the thread down versus pulling it up like we normally would do. So I'm pushing the yarn down towards the table. Eventually I will flip the bag, so it's a little easier for how I typically do this. But there you go, you're gonna push the yarn through the hole towards the table to make your second row. I didn't have a lot of yarn left, so I'm gonna go grab my other ball so that I can finish this flap. So the new yarn is connected, and I am just going to keep knitting. I'm going to pull some yarn off to make it easier for me, and then we are going to flip the bag, make it a little easier to see visually. And here we go. So we're going to keep doing, I'm still doing the twist method. It's a little easier when you're not doing this in a circle. So we're going to twist and pull all the way till we get to the end of the bag. I ended up doing about 7 rows for the flap. It could have been a little bit shorter, but I just wanted to test this method out. I probably will do this again in a different video, but I did about 7 rows, and it's 7 rows down and 10 rows across. And I feel like the 10 was a little bit, I probably could have got away with 8 so it wouldn't overlap the edges as much, but I didn't want there to be a gap there, so I probably will try it again and work a little bit harder on my tension. So now that I finished my 7 rows, it's a little bit angled towards the end as my stitches got a little bit looser. So I'm going to try to make this cast off a little tight. So you'll see me pulling the yarn to make it tighter. So we're going to start with making that new loop, taking the new loop over the old loop. But before we do that, we're going to give our working yarn a pull to make sure it's tight. So new loop over the old, pull, new loop over the old, pull, new loop over the old, and pull, new loop over the old, and pull, new loop over the old, and pull. I just like to repeat this because I feel like people get really confused on this. So new loop over the old, pull it tight, and then make a new loop. So this is my last loop, and actually that 200 inches of yarn that I had earlier ended up being perfect, and this ended up being perfect as well. So here is, I'm going to chop that, I'm going to pull that end all the way through, and this is my flap for my bag. I'm going to again pull out some of that cotton, but I'm going to weave it in and out, kind of tuck the ends, as they say, into the edge of the bag here, and then I'm going to pull out some of that yarn, and I'm going to tie it into one of these stitches inside the flap just to make sure, you know, it doesn't come out anywhere, or, you know, nothing starts to unravel. So that is my flap. So here's the bag. It's a little round on the bottom. I want to see if there's a different way to do this where the bottom is a little bit squarer. But yeah, this is the bag. I thought it came out super cute. I actually am thinking about a closure. So I went to my stash and I was looking around to see what I already had. I don't want to buy anything. And I found this little latch and hook bar, right? So I'm going to try to sew these on using some of the empty casings I cut away and see if that will help this be a closure. I already have thread to match and a needle, so it was perfect. So I'm going to sew these on real quick and see how it goes. So I added the purse insert, and this is what it looks like. I think my purse insert might be just a smidge big, but I just wanted to get the visual. And the latch looks like it works fine. And here is the final bag, y'all. Thanks so much for watching my channel. If you make this bag, please tag me on social media at the Aya Emporium. And until next time, y'all, bye.